And in our top business story, James Hogan is set to step down as President and Chief Executive of the Etihad Aviation Group in the second half of this year. According to a statement from the company, its board and Mr. Hogan first initiated the transition process last year with the formation in May of the group structure under which Etihad Airways sits. Mr. Hogan took on the role of CEO of the airline in 2006 and, according to a local report, quoting the group's chairman, Mohammed Al-Mazroui, under his leadership, the company has provided new opportunities for thousands of Emiratis and has been a critical element in the remarkable progress of Abu Dhabi and the UAE. The group's economic contribution to Abu Dhabi last year is estimated at more than $9.6 billion, supporting the growth of tourism and other sectors in the emirate. Al-Mazroui added that the company is amid a strategic review after a challenging time for aviation in the Middle East, with excess capacity and softening economic climate triggered by lower oil prices. Mr. Hogan led the airline into a series of code shares and 7 minority investments in other carriers, including Air Berlin and Alitalia, to stimulate the growth of its network and passenger numbers. Last month, Etihad said it would create a new European leisure airline venture with travel group TUI. A new codeshare agreement with Lufthansa and an aircraft leasing agreement between Air Berlin and Lufthansa were also announced. Etihad is also working with Alitalia on the next phase of its restructuring plan. Credit ratings agency Fitch is forecasting a 5.9% deficit for Abu Dhabi this year, unchanged from last year, as well as higher expenditure following 2 years of contraction in spending. Next year, according to the agency, the emirate is expected to post a 1.5% surplus as oil prices recover to $55 per barrel and the introduction of value-added tax generates 0.5% of GDP. In addition, utility price increases and new taxes on hotels and rents are expected to help shore up revenue. Fitch maintained Abu Dhabi's AA rating with a stable outlook, citing the Emirates' strong fiscal and financial buffers and high GDP per capita. Abu Dhabi is expected to post a deficit this year based on an oil price of $45 per barrel. Spending is forecast to grow by 3% this year after shrinking by 10.3% last year and by 18.1% in 2015. The agency estimates that Abu Dhabi's sovereign net foreign assets were 282% of GDP last year, larger than the AA median of 61% of GDP, while government debt was 3.6% of GDP. Abu Dhabi has yet to reveal its 2017 budget. Activity remains muted in Dubai's office market, with a majority of districts in the city reporting flat or declining rents, according to real estate consultancy Cluttons. The company's Spring 2017 Dubai office market bulletin reported declines in top-band rents in 15 out of 23 sub-markets monitored, while reporting increases in only 2. The areas that showed improvement were DIFC, where top rents increased by 5.7% year-on-year to 370 dirhams per square foot, and non-free zone space in Dubai Designed District. The submarkets that had the greatest declines were JLT, which had a 22.2% reduction, Garhoud down 18.2% and Al Barsha down 18.2%. Lower band rents also fell by 14.3% in JLT and Business Bay. According to officials from Cluttons, activity for the take-up of new office space started to weaken during the second half of 2016. Cluttons added that there had not been a significant increase in the supply of new office space, but that in certain areas such as Business Bay, Dubai and Deira, more secondary or tertiary space is being delivered. The UAE is the third best logistics centre out of 50 emerging markets, according to a survey by Agility. The country's ranking, according to the survey's authors, is due to its investment in infrastructure and measures taken to improve its ease of doing business. The UAE's rank slipped one place as India sped past with reforms to take the number 2 position after emerging markets leader China. The latest Emerging Markets Logistics Index was gathered from responses from 800 logistics and supply chain executives in a survey conducted last year. Size and growth attractiveness constitutes 50% of the overall assessment, while compatibility and connectedness each account for 25% of the overall score. UAE was ranked first in terms of market compatibility, which measures ease of doing business, business climate, market risks and other metrics. It is also ranked number 1 in terms of market connectedness, thanks to its highly developed infrastructure. All 6 Arabian Gulf countries were included in the top 10 of market compatibility, and all 6 countries except Kuwait were in the top 10 of connectedness.